Do you struggle with eating junk food? You just can't control yourself and you're not exactly sure what to do about it. And the number one absolute best way to stop cravings from junk food is if you're tormented by a crippling and nagging vice. And the vice is possibly destroying your life because now you're 50, 60, 100 pounds overweight because you're addicted to junk food and you're looking for the absolute best way to stop your cravings, then this message, my friend, is for you. This situation really calls for abstinence. I know, that difficult word. You might say, JT, I've tried abstaining, but it actually makes the problem worse. Although I think 99.9% of statistics are made up, I know for sure that this so-called verified statistic is very true. I believe counseling is more effective for weight loss than working with a dietitian, a nutritionist, or someone who is a weight loss expert, right? Weight loss is partially about behavior modifications, not just rules. Hence the reason many years ago, I decided to go back to school. I got a master's degree in eating disorders and substance abuse, and counseling really became that engine to the things that we do nowadays in our program. It's essential to understand that your conscious mind, right, and your pre-conscious mind, as well as your subconscious mind, are all at play in this particular situation that you're dealing with. 99% of our daily behaviors are a byproduct of our subconscious mind. Now, I think I need to explain the difference between the conscious, the pre-conscious, and the subconscious mind. So I want to give you an idea. Your conscious mind is the mind that you're using right now to watch and listen to this video and decide whether this is valuable for you or not. You're actively listening and you're conscious of what you're doing. Your pre-conscious is sort of this storage where a lot of memories go. So if I ask you what you had for dinner last night, unless you have amnesia, you'll easily be able to go back and tell me, right? That is your pre-conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is where most of your thoughts are stored. Most of these thoughts that come from your childhood, lots of the sort of trauma and situations from your childhood are stored in your subconscious mind. A lot of those dark moments, those difficult moments of adversity in your life get stored in your subconscious mind. Your brain does this to mitigate emotions so that you are not having that in your forefront, and if you had it in your forefront all the time, it would be very hard to do life. So your brain is very smart and it stores it in the subconscious mind. Most of the actions, 90% of the things that you do on a daily basis come from your subconscious mind. That's a little scary because what this says is that you're not necessarily in control of the things that you are doing because it comes from your subconscious mind, right? Your subconscious mind is sort of storing those ideas, those memories there. And so then the question is, if we want to get over junk food eating, right? Which you went from one very basic thing to a concept that is kind of deep, right? But it all works together. If you want to get over this, we must influence the subconscious mind through what we call the reticular activating system. I'm going to abbreviate it as RAS, okay? So I want to explain what the RAS is. The reticular activating system in your brain is the part of your brain that remembers things that you have experienced, things you've seen, things you've heard, right? And prior to that, prior to bringing those things to the surface, you were deleting, distorting, and generalizing ideas. So your reticular activating system basically is taking things from the subconscious mind and bringing them to the conscious mind so that now you're more aware of these things. And so it's pivotal for you to actually engage your subconscious mind and bring it to the forefront. Here are some steps that I believe can help you overcome some of these things and can really help you focus on bringing things from your subconscious mind into the conscious mind and being able to activate that reticular activating system. So number one, if you don't see something, then you just kind of forget. So you know the saying, out of sight, out of mind. The opposite is true of that. We need to create visual cues that actually remind us of what we need to do. So structuring your house, your environment in a way that supports you is going to be pivotal. Let me explain. If you have junk food all over the house, it's going to be very hard to stick to anything, right? It's going to be very hard to abstain from eating junk food. You're seeing it all the time. You're being tempted by it all the time. So one of the first things I would say is you need to take these things out of the house. So that's the first step in creating visual cues. The second step in creating visual cues is you actually want to create positive visual cues in your home structure so that every time you see them, you're reminded of what you're doing. I'm well known for always carrying a little container of water Everywhere I go, I bring it with me so that I'm constantly seeing it and reminded that I need to drink water. I often leave my sneakers by the door, so I'm reminded that I either need to go for cardio or I need to get to the gym. And those sneakers are just anchored in my nervous system. Every time I see them, I know that I need to go out and get a run or get a workout in. I also made a huge investment in a gym outside, so that every time I see that gym, I'm reminded that I made an investment. So there's some skin in the game there, right? Which always pushes me in the direction of working out. But then I can't miss it. It's always there, right? It's literally as soon as I walk out into my kitchen, my living room, the first thing I see outside is that gym. It's constantly reminding me of being physically active. There are things in my fridge, for example. I have 2 little girls. So what I do is I always put their food in the back and my food in the front, so that when I open the fridge, the first thing I see is the meals that I want to eat. Right? What I'm doing is I'm influencing my reticular activating system, the RAS, that part of my brain that's bringing things from my subconscious mind to my conscious mind. Number 2, I have a strategy called intention setting. And intention setting says that if I just think about something and I don't actually put it down on paper, right? More importantly, I actually create a date, a time, and a place to do that thing, it will not happen. Right? So what that looks like is the night before, I take out a little piece of paper and I say, first thing in the morning, I'm gonna read through 2 chapters of my book in my table, my little table that's next to my coffee machine. And I'm gonna do that at super early, don't judge me, at 3:30 in the morning. I get up super early, right? So I set a date, a time, and a place for the activity that I'm gonna do. I pull out all my books, all my things that I'm gonna do that morning. I get my coffee ready, I set my alarm, I go to sleep early, and I have set an intention for the day. That's super powerful because once again, what you're doing is you're taking things from your subconscious mind and bringing them to your conscious mind. Number 3, if you don't set alarms, right, it's gonna be very hard to get things done. The alarm is that friendly accountability that is just tapping you on the shoulder and reminding you to do the things that you said you were going to do. So I have alarms set literally for every aspect of my life. Every single hour of the day is accounted for. And I know that sounds kind of boring, but it's very effective. I can give you a whole story on why I believe being effective for me is more important than actually being entertained. And so what I do is I set alarms. I set alarms for all my meals. I set alarms for my cardios. I set alarms for different appointments I have. I set alarms for when I'm gonna go to bed, when I'm gonna wake up. Once again, it sounds boring, but it's very, very effective. And if you're looking to be efficient, then setting alarms is the best thing to do. Number 4, when you actually do things that maybe are what I would call a heavy lift. In other words, it's hard for you to get to cardio. It's hard for you to get up at a certain time without hitting the snooze button a ton of times. Then you want to reward yourself for those behaviors. I have a lot of internal rewards. When I actually do this, I feel good. I have good momentum. My energy is good. My disposition is good. I show up differently to my day-to-day responsibilities, and that's a big reward system for me. On top of that, I have all these routines Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I loosen up and I do some things. I eat some things that I usually don't eat and don't do as a reward. Okay, and I can tell you that, for example, Fridays is a big reward day for us because we eat pizza. It's pizza night at my house. I look forward to it. I don't need to eat pizza the rest of the week, right? I just eat it that one time. I have 2 slices. I share the pizza with my daughters. We spend time together. It's valuable time. And I can tell you that those 2 slices of pizza that I eat on Fridays, I enjoy more than if I was having pizza all the time. So you want to reward good behavior. Number 5, you want to consider people, places, and things. I have a very harsh saying, and please hear me out. It's not coming from a harsh place, but I want you to sort of grasp what I'm trying to say here. If you want to soar like an eagle, you can't hang out with scavengers. If you're making lifestyle changes, if you're trying to get away from junk food, but you hang out with people that are constantly eating junk food, guess what? They're going to influence you in the wrong way. So you have to make a choice. And I know it's probably one of the hardest things I'll ask you to do is getting away from some of those people that are influencing you in the wrong direction. Hard, but one of the most powerful things you'll do. You want to replace those people with people that are encouraging you and adding to this new way of life. There are certain places that trigger you. The minute you go to these places, you feel triggered, you feel tempted. You know what those places, where those places are. So avoid those places as much as possible. It could be the bar, it could be the restaurant. As a matter of fact, I always say, if you stay away from restaurants, you're not gonna get trapped, because restaurants are in the business of bringing you back, and they trap you with all the visuals and the smells and everything that you experience when you go into a restaurant. So you know what those places are. If you're looking to eat healthy, you want to stay away from those places that are going to tempt you. Remember I said people, places, and things. You're wondering what things are. Well, things are idols that we have in our lives, vices that we have. Please remember that your brain is always scanning for a dopamine hit, right? Oftentimes people get that through alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, and of course, why not the innocent drug food? So what I'm going to ask you to do is to identify some of those vices you have in your life. And if it's something like food and it's junk food and it's making you gain weight and you feel lethargic and you don't feel well, then you have to really make a choice and decide, hey, is this something that I want to continue doing? And if you want to make a lifestyle change, then you're going to have to identify that as a crutch, as an idol, and crush the idol and move on, right? I think, as I said earlier, clarity is power. I think that understanding these things and knowing how they're affecting you and really, really connecting that with your heart convictions can really get you to change. Number 6, nothing happens without accountability. Now, when I say accountability, I often hear people say, well, my husband keeps me accountable. That kind of accountability is not the best kind of accountability, simply because when people are too close to us, they lose power. And so we want to find a third unbiased party that is going to encourage us and remind us of the commitments that we have made, okay? Ideally, if that is a person that you pay, even better, okay? When you pay attention. When you pay, you have skin in the game. So pay a coach. Or here's a strategy that's worked really well for some of my members. Take an envelope with some money in it, give it to someone you love, respect, and trust, and tell them, for the next couple of weeks, months, I'm trying to do X, Y, Z. I want you to keep me accountable to this on a weekly basis, and if I don't follow through, I want you to keep what's in that envelope, right? And then check in with that person a month later or however long you make that commitment for. And if you don't follow through, right, make sure that whatever's in that envelope actually hurts if you lose it. So put it aside and give it to that person. Number 7, you want to create 4 90-day goals a year. Let me explain this. There are 4 90 days in a year. So each one of those is 3 months, right? 90 days. What I'm going to ask you to do is actually break up your year in 4 parts. And I want you to choose 4 90-day sort of sprints to master certain things in your life. So here's the way I would put it if you're looking to overcome eating junk food, losing weight, and getting really in the best shape of your life. The first 90 days, you want to dial in your nutrition and a very specific kind of cardio that just entails you walking, okay? You want to dial that in for 90 days. If you do that well, you have the possibility of losing 25 to 30 pounds in that period of time, of course, if that's something that you need to lose. Your second sprint, which is your second 90-day for the year, is going to be devoted to making it to the gym at least 3 times a week and incorporating some kind of resistance training along with that same slow burn cardio, which is just a brisk walk, right? And of course, you're going to continue to eat clean, right? So that's your second sprint. Your sprint number 3, your third 90-day for the year, is maybe going to incorporate some intellectual achievements, right? You're going to start reading. Start reading maybe 20 pages a day and do it for 90 days. I promise it'll change your life radically. And then maybe the last one I would say that would be, if you're a person of faith, maybe you believe in God and you have a relationship with God, and maybe that is a relationship that is on a scale from 1 to 10, maybe you're at a 3. I would challenge you to get deeper into your spiritual walk. If you are a Christian, maybe that means reading your Bible more, and not just reading it, but actually taking notes and understanding and applying things to your life. Maybe that's your prayer life. Maybe that's being more introspective. Maybe that's fasting. Maybe that's finding times of solitude. Maybe that is loving people unconditionally, right? Really being of service to others, but really expanding on those intrinsic things, and do that for 90 days. And so what we're doing is, in these 4 sprints of the year, we're mastering for 90 days every single one of these things. My question to you is, do you think after doing all these things, do you think not only will you not overcome the junk food eating, but you're going to lose weight, you're going to be encouraged, you're going to be edified, you're going to be better than you are now? And I truly, truly believe that this is what's required for you to truly make sustainable changes in your life and adopt this lifestyle from a conviction standpoint and not necessarily from just following a bunch of rules. I hope I did this video justice. More importantly, I hope that you got something out of it. Put it to action. I'd love to hear your comments down below. If we're not family yet and you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. And more importantly, remember that we need to take things from that subconscious mind, bring them to the conscious mind, activate them, and you're going to see that you're going to take control of your life once and for all. My name is JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.